First, let's look at what are we going to see in this lecture. What are the objectives of this class? Okay. Here we are going to see what is, we are going to define, classify, and then describe the injuries. This description, we should understand what is a stab wound, what is a chop wound. First, we should know the definition of it. And then how can we classify them? How can we put them in a more perspective where we can understand them better. And this classification is important not only from a medical therapeutic point of view, but also from a legal point of view. Because classification of an injury will help in understanding of legal implications of it also. And finally, there is description of the injury where students should be able to describe the wound looking at a wound in the real life, like when you come across a situation in an emergency or like in a surgery department when you are posted, or orthopedics, where you come across different kind of injuries. There you have to, from a legal perspective, you have to describe those injuries in a manner where legal officers like lawyers and judges and even the relatives of the educated relatives of the person who has suffered injury can also use that information for legal understanding of that, because any injury that we come across has some legal implications. You must have had an idea about it based upon the previous classes that injury can be because somebody has inflicted upon themselves, somebody else has inflicted that injury, or it can be accidental. So here we are going to look at stab injury and chop injury, how they are produced, what are the mechanisms, what are the definition of these, and how they are classified. The description part will be covered in more elaborately in a practical exercise that will be following this class, like next class will be that. And then we are going to look at some medico-legal importance of these injuries as a whole. Okay. Now let's look at the stab wound first. What is a stab injury? Okay. Look at it from this perspective, that whenever an injury is inflicted upon body, some kind of force is involved. And this force can be variable. It can be a blunt force, it can be a sharp force, it can be a pointed force. When do we call it a stab injury? When the force is inflicted upon the body and this force is traversing across the long axis of the inflicting weapon. Let's look at this knife. Let's look at this pencil first. This is a pointed object. When the force is inflicted in this direction, like along the long axis, then it will cause a penetrating effect. And when it is a narrow and a pointed object, it will have the effect of penetrating the body, penetrating the skin, penetrating the cavities, and it may even go across the body, causing the perforation also. So that will be the later part of it, that where we classify the wounds. First we will look at the basic mechanisms of it. So if we take an example of this knife which is shown here, we see there is a pointed tip of the weapon, and also this pointed tip weapon can also have a sharp edge that will have a added effect on the injury. Although stab injury does not require all weapons to be sharp along the edges, but if that wound, if the edge is sharp, then it will have a more pronounced effect of penetrating the body. So the injury will be more easily inflicted. So what are the key points that we understand from this definition is the injury which happens, stab injury is an injury which happens when the force is directed along the long axis of that particular inflicting weapon. And that what kind of characteristic the weapon should have? the weapon should be a narrow or a pointed object. The effect will be augmented when the edges of the weapon are sharp or cutting. So this is the definition that we expect from each and every student when we ask it in the exams. Okay, so what is the most important characteristic that a weapon should have to cause a stab injury? I would like some response from you. What is the most important characteristic that a weapon should have for it to cause stabbing effect? Narrow and pointed tip. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So now I think we are clear. We can move on to the next slide. So here we are going to look at it. Okay. Now, what are the characteristics of a stab wound that make it particularly important? The characteristics feature of any injury are described in its length, its width or breadth, and also width or breadth, and also the depth component of it. So any injury that we describe, we should describe its dimensions into length, how much lengthy it is, how much wide it is, and how much is the depth of that particular injury. So 3D injuries are like, lacerating. There might be 2D injuries also, which are superficial, like abrasion and contusion, which are superficial injuries. But then when we come to deeper aspect of injuries, there will be laceration, stab injury, incised wounds, which will have a third dimension also. And we are supposed to comment upon these all three dimensions while we examine these injuries. Okay. So based upon the depth of a stab wound and be three types of injury, we can classify them as three types. First is a puncture. Let's assume this example we are taking. Let's assume when the weapon which is inflicting the injury is only breaching the superficial layers of skin and subcutaneous tissue, it is causing much deeper penetration, that is muscle. It is not penetrating in muscle, then the injury will be called as a puncture wound. When there is an injury where the weapon has more into the body cavity, but penetrating the layer, this is muscle layer, this is the skin, this is subcutaneous tissue. Okay, and this is the body cavity that I'm representing with the green color. This is body area. Okay, if the weapon inflicting has breached the body cavity, then it will be called as a penetrating wound. But one more added characteristic is that if the weapon has gone more deeper and gone more beyond the body's capacity, it has entered from one aspect and gone beyond the other aspect of body, like it has entered from the anterior chest and gone behind, penetrating the chest wall, pleural cavity, then going through the lung parenchyma, traversing the intervertebral space, intercostal in between the ribs, and penetrating the posterior chest wall and going onto the opposite side of body, then it will be known as a perforating wound. Are you able to get me? There are three classifications. One is a puncture wound, another is a penetrating wound, and third is a perforating. Puncture is a superficial wound which is lit above the muscle layer of the body. Penetrating is a wound which has entered into the cavity, gone deeper than the muscle. And third is a perforating, when the injury does not limit itself to the body, it goes beyond the capacity limits of anatomical confines, like anterior chest, traversing through the pleural cavity and going through the posterior wall of chest and then making an exit point. So there will be two injuries in a perforating wound. There will be an entry wound, there will be exit wound. And if we look at it closely, we will find that when the weapon is entering, it takes some edges along itself into the substance. I'll draw it more clearly. Okay, so these are the edges. When the weapon enters, it will take some tag along with it into the mouth. So the injury, when you examine, it will be like an inverted injury. This is the skin. When it breaches, it will take an edge along with it and the wound will appear inverted. Although the swelling and that reaction that happens subsequently may elevate it, but usually what you find is the inverted edges on the entry side. And on the exit side, the weapon enters, it takes skin tags out. So when the skin integrity from inside the weapon is entering, so there will be separation and there will be everted margins on the exit wound. I want some response from you people. Are you able to understand the things that I am describing to you? You can keep your audio on also if there is no problem with that. So here one particular feature I like to tell you people that what do we, in relation to certain body parts, their body injuries are have a different characteristic. An injury may be like, more grave in certain body part and less grave in another body part. Let's say for the example of neck. Here, there are vital body structures, like subclavian vein, carotid artery, respiratory passages. These are lying very superficially. And if an injury is inflicted, like a stab or incised wound is inflicted on these areas, it is more likely to cause death of the person. And here we are going to say an injury is deep. Let's say it will take the characteristic of penetrating wound when it is platysma. Are you able to understand? In relation to neck, any injury will become more grave. It will attain the characteristic of endangering life when it breaches platysma layer of the neck. Keep this thing in mind. It is a very important point. You will be asked this question in vivas, you will be asked this question in MCQs, and wherever you go, this is a very important point to be emphasized. Remember this. Any injury deeper than platysma will be a severe injury. Now, what are we seeing here? I want your response on this. What am I trying to depict over here? These lines, what do these represent? These lines, what do these represent? Langer's lines, yes. What's your role number with this? Sabarish Swarna. Okay, these Langer lines, what is the importance of these Langer lines is, they will distort. Langer lines, what are Langer lines? First of all, let's understand the basic importance of these Langer lines. In the skin, we are having, let's assume this is the skin. In the skin, there are arrangement of elastic fibers. These elastic fibers are arranged in certain fashion that they will cause stretching and molding of the skin as per the direction, as per the particular body part which is present. Collagen and elastin fibers. Mostly there will be elastin fibers. Okay. So when these fibers are breached, they will cause distortion of the wound. They are having elastic characteristics. So if a wound is present parallel to these lines, it will be least distorted because elastin fibers are not stretched. Whereas if an injury is inflicted perpendicular to it, the elastin fibers are going to stretch it and make the wound in a distorted way. So if an injury, if a stab wound is like this, then it will be least distorted. The length will correspond to actually what the length was. Whereas if an injury is inflicted perpendicular, it will stretching and gaping wound, and the wound will become smaller and wider. Smaller and wider when the wound is inflicted perpendicular to the orientation of Langer lines. So these things you should be able to appreciate. Always measure an injury approximating the margin, making the stretching effect. If an injury is like this wide, you stretch it, make it in a direction so that it becomes, margins are appropriated. And still you have to measure the width of the wound. If a wound is present like this, if a wound is distorted in front of you like this, then always stretch it. Make it to the least possible breadth, because if you are suspecting it to be a stab wound, then obviously this, it would have been a knife that is most commonly used. It will have width component, which you will have to document in your injury when examining, and then measure the length of the wound. Okay? So when we take the correct features or characteristics of the wound, what are we supposed to describe? Let's say there is a stab wound which is like, and there is a stab wound which is present this. Okay. Wound having one the L length of the wound. It will usually correspond with the, if the web has entered till this point, then this length, this will be the depth. This will cause the component of the wound. This cause the length component of the wound. And the width of the knife, how much thick the knife is, that will cause the breadth component of the wound. Okay, so while describing any injury, you should document the length of the wound, its breadth of the wound, and then it's the depth of the wound. While examining a live person, depth is very difficult to ascertain on external examination. You have to find out the track of the wound. Let's say if a person has suffered injury on his abdomen, if the injury is suffered here, then it might go into the peritoneal cavity, it might have penetrated into the substance of liver, it might have gone beyond the capacity of liver, entering the retroperitoneal also. But you cannot say based upon just external injury. If injury is on back aspect, so in the similar ways, and then say it is a perforating wound. It is well and clear that it has penetrated beyond it has penetrated to its maximum, causing the perforation. But if the injury has not perforated and there is no exit wound present here, you will have to examine the wound, how much depth it is having. So if a live person is brought to you with a stab wound, always say that depth has to be ascertained at the time of surgery. The person will be taken up for surgery, because stab wounds are a surgical emergency at the time of surgery. Or if the dead person is brought to you, then you will say at autopsy, depth will be ascertained at either surgery or autopsy. So if you are making an injury report, you will say depth to be ascertained at the time of surgery. If a dead person is, if you are conducting an autopsy, then obviously if a dead person, like a dead body, is brought to the emergency, then you will say autopsy has to be conducted to find the depth of the wound. Wound also has to be this thing. We will see what are the variabilities, what are the variations that we see in the shape of a stab wound due to various factors, and also direction has to be documented. We will see what are the features that we can rely upon while commenting upon this. So shape of the wound. First I told you Langer lines will be the one factor which will cause the wound to be shorted. Second thing, when we are talking about a knife can have a single sharp edge or it can have a double edge which is sharp. While entering the body, the edge, how many edges are sharp will determine the shape of the wound. So when a single edged knife is entering into the body, it will cause wound to have a acute end, then acute end, and it will also have a blunt end. Let's say this is a blunt end. Are you? Because this is sharp and it will cause the cutting effect. It will have the cutting effect on the skin. This cutting effect will cause a sharp demarcation. The angle will be acute. The angle will be, we call it as acutely defined end or acute end of the stab wound. Whereas the non-cutting edge is just entering because of the effect of it. So the width of this non-cutting edge will cause some distortion and cause widening of the opposite end, and it is known as blunting of the wound, blunt end of the wound. Are you able to understand? Come on, respond to me. Are you able to understand this thing? If I'm going to examine, you will have to look at these features. Why? Let's now see the other injury. Similar effect on both sides will cause both ends to be acute. Cutting effect on both sides of the wound will cause acute ends, and the width of the knife will be thickest in between. In between, it will cause a little width to be present in this one. Okay, now we are seeing an injury in the lower right corner of this presentation. Are you able to see this injury? I want you to comment what kind of weapon has been used, single-edged knife or double-edged knife? Very well, very well, very well. Single-edged knife. So you are able to find out that this is a blunt end and this is the acute end of the wound. Next, as I told you, the weapon has to have a tip or a narrow tip for it to cause any stabbing effect. And based upon the characteristic of the weapon that has been used, there might be a different sort of shapes on the body. So this is another factor which affects the shape of the wound. You can see that 4 prongs of this one on the posterior aspect cause it to have a plus sign kind of appearance. Next thing, when injury is caused by blade and force is more than when it has caused its full penetration, it will cause penetration till this point and till this point. After this point, there are things that are present. There is a guard that is present on both sides. This guard also the skin. This guard hilt may also strike the skin. When it strikes the skin, there might be penetration or a contusion present along with that wound that is known as mark. This hilt mark is very important in assessing the direction of strike. Let's say this is a hilt mark. If it is going in this direction, this will strike first. Let's say there are hilt on both sides. This is not striking. This is the body. This is the body, and it is causing full penetration. Then this will come in contact. Lower hilt will come in contact with the body, and it will cause abrasion. Whereas if the other way around it is coming, then this hilt will come in contact. So hilt mark present on upper aspect of the wound or lower aspect of the wound will help you in determining which direction the wound has been inflicted. Understood or not? Yes, yes. Do respond fast. We don't have much time. Okay. So there can be abrasion contusion. Hilt shows it is medico-legally important. Medico-legally important. How? If hilt is present, then maximum force that a person could deliver has been used. Weapon cannot penetrate further. Weapon cannot go beyond that. It shows that intent that a person had an intent of causing the maximum damage. Whether it caused death or not, that is, there are certain other factors associated, but it will help you in determining that maximum force has been used. And also one more thing, stab injury or these will not be so important in dating of wound, but hilt mark abrasion, contusion, color changes or abrasion healing, these will help you in dating that wound. Remember this. If you are seeing it to be a dark dried brown scab, then separating from margin, obviously the wound is around to be 4 to 5 years, 4 to 5 days old, or more than even like 5 to 7, around the 5 days capacity, it will start separating from the margins. And after a week, it will just come off. So that way you can assess the wound, how, what is the age of the wound. So examination, when we come across a stab wound, it is assessment has to be done because the vital chest may be damaged. Like in the case of chest and lung may be damaged, person may has to be resuscitated fast. He might have to be taken for CTVA surgery. So very important. First of all, assess in AB, airway, breathing, circulation. Assess for any emergency treatment that has to be given or not. Next, wound examination and description. Examine the wound, you or whether you are operating upon this patient, you will have to certify certain, you will have to document findings that you saw, even in your MLC that you prepare, even in your notes that you prepare, even in your surgical notes, while examining pre-op notes, post-op notes, all kind of notes, you will have to say what is the appearance of the wound. So wound exam becomes important. Then description. And after open, you will have to say the wound, whether it is going, which all areas it is perforating, what all have you repaired, and that will determine the capacity, the punishment that can be given to the individual. And next thing is examination. This is medico-legally very important. Any injury which is not covered, if let's say if an injury is covered, caused over here, and I am wearing a half sleeve, so there will be no injury on the cloth. If an injury is inflicted over the shoulder, I am wearing a cloth at this particular moment. If an injury is inflicted on my left shoulder, then obviously there will be a defect on the clothes. This is practically and medico-legally important to examine clothes. There are blood stains on these areas, this part of the cloth. You might even have to see the blood type of this blood grouping. You can see this particular piece of the cloth taken from here, and that will be relevant. Not distorting the edges of the wound, not distorting the edges of the defect. Okay. Next, are you able to see anything on this photograph? Comment fast. Are you able to see? Single edged, double edged, anything else? How we describe these injuries, we will discuss in the next practical session of it. Yes, yes, yes. Hilt mark, yes. One very important point. Can you see this? Hilt mark. Maximum force has been used. It appears double-edged. See, there is this is one particular thing when you come across in practical classes. Here, I am not having the privilege of making the picture much bigger, but I will show you that this is the acute end, and there is some blunting of this edge. There is some blend of this edge. It is a single-edged weapon only. My whole purpose of showing this photograph is for you to appreciate this hilt mark that is present below the wound. Okay, understood? Next, medico-legal importance of a stab wound. What are the medico-legal importance? Medico-legally, when you come across a stab wound, looking at the manner it has been inflicted, from the perspective of the manner of the stab wound, it can have various presentation. It can be a concealed stab wound. When A wants to kill B, he does not want forensic expert or doctors to find what has caused the death of the person. He just wants to inflict an injury in certain body parts where doctor will be finding it difficult, or any person who is examining this B will be finding it difficult to find the location of the wound. So this is concealed. It is homicidal, but the wound is concealed. It can be various locations. I want you to comment which location can be inflict an injury where it will be difficult to appreciate. Fast, fast. Tell me certain body areas where stab can be inflicted and it will be difficult to appreciate. Yeah. Rectum. Vagina. Okay. Any natural orifices, it might be difficult. Also, in females, below the breast fold. Below the breast fold. If you inflict an injury, then it might go and penetrate the heart, lungs. That can be very dangerous injury. Okay. Next, what we are seeing over here is overkill, stab wounds under the influence of jealousy, overkilling. One injury is sufficient to cause death, but because of jealousy, person keeps on hitting. There might be 100 of injuries present. Hundreds of injuries may be present in a stab wound, Okay, understood? Overkill. Next, when an injury is inflicted in a suicidal manner, harakiri, it is a well-known phenomenon in Japanese samurais. What they do is they will take a weapon, insert in the stomach, in the abdomen, and then cause the lateral dragging. Lateral dragging. First a stab wound, then a lateral dragging. Stab wound with a lateral dragging. This will cause stab plus incised component. It will cause abdominal viscera and abdominal wall vessels to be cut. Sudden collapse, sudden death will be there. On the spot, person will be dead. harakiri, suicidal stab wound, harakiri. Remember this point. It will be asked at many places. Next, impalement. Forceful impact, forceful projectile movement of a stabbing weapon. You would have heard a person who was driving on a motorcycle, landed in an accident. A projectile, a pipe or some this thing protruding from the back of a vehicle, impaled into the body, impalement. This is accidental. Red colored are homicidal. Green color is suicidal. And blue color is accidental. Impaled injury. Remember this, impaled injury is a kind of a stab wound. Very important. This has been asked many times. What is an impalement injury? Next, bull gore injury. What is bull gore injury? Respond people. What is a bull gore injury? Jallikattu. Horn of the bull causing stabbing of a human being. That is a bull gore injury. If you are asked what kind of injury is possible, what kind of stab is possible, what kind of stab is possible in an animal game or a Jallikattu, if they give example, you should remember bull gore injury. Next, chop wound. Are we clear with this stab wound? Should I move forward with this chop wound? Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. What is a chop wound? Chopping. You would have heard of chopping. Chopping is like, chopping, action, chopping. You use chopping knife in the kitchen. What kind of characteristic we are talking about when we see a chopping wound? A chopping is an injury which is caused by a blow. This is force transmitted by a blow with sharp cutting edge of a heavy object. There are three characteristics. So, this is the cutting edge of an axe, sharp cutting edge, and also the heavy. This is the most important keywords that you should remember. So what is the definition of a chop wound? It is an injury caused by a blow of a sharp cutting edged weapon which is heavy in nature, and also we will see because of this heaviness, this cutting edge will go deeper and will not stop until it has faced some resistance. Okay, some resistance in the form of there will be a bone involvement present in these cases. So if a person is causing axe to hit on this aspect, maybe it will cause fully transaction also. Like in case of digits, it might cause full transaction or amputation of the digit. Whereas when a stronger bone is present, it might not cause complete transaction. In the skull also, these wounds may be present. So let's take an example. The mechanism is this will hitting over area, and this skin, cutaneous tissue will all be chopped up, and bone will have indentation or it may complete fracture also. Understood or not? Faster people. Yes. Next. Okay, here we are seeing is a chop wound. Now one thing that I want you to stress upon is that there is bone involvement. Can you see the bone fractures? Multiple bone fractures, multiple comminuted fracture of the skull is present. Multiple bone embedded. One edge clean, one edge is regular, and other is while taking of the and then taking the weapon a little and so while taking it out, it might distort and there might be a little infliction one of the edges. And also it might be also when a person is upon this vital part, he just has the intent, and once there's such injury, him to have, so while he just like, and that will cause more. That's what we are seeing over here. Correct? Lateral thinking. One thing that I want to picture is these heavy weapons cannot be made. If it is very sharp, it will cause cutting effect. If it is not, some edge is a little blunted, then there might be an abrasion. These edges, look at these edges. I seem to be like incised, though no. There is a contusion present, abrasion present. These all things, for example, will have abrasion or associated with it. Next. Okay. Well, while we are describing these wounds, we should know the length of it, we should know the length of it, and then how much is the depth, because we will be going to the shopping. You don't know what is much deeper than what, because you don't have the, if while certain not have a deeper component, able to see, you can very comment upon the depth of it. This is this motion, stab has this motion. Remember. Also, when we are talking about a weapon which has like an axe, let's say this is an axe, not a very good axe, I will take the other axe only. Let's say this right, or it will cause weapon distorted in such a way. If you look closely while we are looking at the aspect of it, when you join back, you will see this wound will cause and this separation will be wide on this side, and the wound this by the end of the wound will be less, whereas this will cause like this. You can very well estimate the position of person getting this injury. Think have finished our 29. You people to at 8:30 from now, because you want to waste minutes in the beginning of the lecture. It is better to start so we can in time. Okay, so next time we will condense at 8:35. Is this clear? I want you to respond. So we are the time and having a more free space you people understand, because this you who be the aspect on all those things, have a understand and clear these are concepts, so you understanding. So be joining back.